Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. A showdown between Agit Kabayel and Joyce looks inevitable now after Joyce was named the mandatory challenger to champion Agit Kabayel's EBU title, EBU European title. So this is going to happen at some point by the looks of it, by the end of 2019, and it won't be next for Kabayel because he already has a voluntary defence penciled in ahead of this announcement. So see on screen here, so this is from the EBU website. So heavyweight category, champion Agit Kabayel, challenger Joyce. So he's now the mandatory challenger, but there is, from that next line, a delay. It is still TBA. And the third line there, voluntary defence, Kabayel versus TBA, June or July 2019, SES Boxing, which is the boxing promoter that looks after Agit Kabayel. And Agit Kabayel was just most recently in the ring at the start of March, had a pretty dominant performance. It was almost a one-sided beatdown of Andre Rudenko over 12 rounds, dropped him in that fight, looked especially good, and he'd been out of the ring for close to a year, so it sort of lost a little bit of buzz and momentum, but with that fight he sort of re-announced himself to the heavyweight division. He advanced to 19-0, 13 KOs, and I like this matchup of Agit Kabayel and Joyce for whenever it does happen, because I know Agit Kabayel is a name for many that is a bit under the radar, but he is, in my view, a legit top 15 guy. He is in my top 15. He has been for the past year or so. I do believe that Agit Kabayel versus Joyce is going to be a lot tougher for Joyce than many people believe. Because Kabayel, when he fought Derek Chisora back in 2017, that's when he picked up the EBU strap. He had a pretty good night that night and sort of made it look easy, and he made Derek Chisora look a bit old and pedestrian. And at that point, it was kind of like, well, you know, Derek Chisora, he's been beaten by an emerging prospect. Is it time for him to hang it up? And we've seen since then, in other fights that Chisora's had, that he's still got something left in the tank. But it ultimately proved that the Kabayel fight was just not a good style matchup. And it may be something similar for this Joyce fight. And I'm not going to hazard any predictions on how the fight might go whenever it does happen, because it looks like it won't happen until the back end of 2019 at least. But that fight will be a good sort of matchup and barometer of where both are at. Because Kabayel is a very good mover, very good technical boxer. He showed against Rudenko he does have some good power, and he really can work the body well, and that was a sort of highlight of that fight. The body work was excellent. And Joyce, meanwhile, you know, he's got that sort of relentless pressure style. He just keeps coming, keeps throwing. He might be a little bit slow for some, but he is very effective when he lands. But could he get his work away, or some of his work away, against what would be by far and away the best opponent he would be facing? And I saw a little bit of criticism on Twitter about this, sort of saying, is this a sort of fight that progresses Joyce's career? Absolutely it does. I think, you know, those comments by whoever made those were, I think that's a bit silly. This is a great fight for Joyce, but it's a great fight for Agit Kabayel. At this point in both in their careers, this would be an excellent matchup to really get a true gauge of where they're at, because Kabayel is, you know, only a couple of fights away from a title, and Joyce potentially in the next year or two, he will be in the mix if he keeps winning. As it is, he is ranked by the, well, I shouldn't say ranked by the WBA, because after that Berman-Stavern win, he was the gold champion. So he's above the rankings now. So he holds a version of a WBA heavyweight title. So, you know, he's not too far away from stepping into what many fans would consider legitimate title fights. And a scrap with Agit Kabayel, if he could come through that, look impressive, knock Kabayel out, for example, it's a massive statement. And similarly, for Kabayel, if he was able to put on a clinic and outbox Joyce, then, you know, obviously that would get him in the minds of many fans, because at the moment he's been way under the radar. But I really do like this fight, but we'll go to a little bit of reaction. So on Twitter, so Sam Jones, this is Joyce's manager, said, delighted to announce Joe is now mandatory for the EBU European heavyweight title held by Derek Chisora conqueror Agit Kabayel. We have offered the fight to him twice before, and twice he has declined. Now he has no choice. Hashtag the juggernaut is coming. When it's coming, who knows, but probably before the end of the year, especially if Kabayel has a fight mid-year. Then another tweet from Sam Jones. I don't want to hear anything but respect for Joe Joyce. Say whatever you like about me, but the juggernaut deserves respect. Kabayel, Kovnatski, Areola, they can all get it next. 9th professional fight. Maybe it won't be his 9th professional fight, given I pointed out that Kabayel actually already has, a voluntary penciled in for, mid-year. They may actually have to look at getting Joe Joyce out again, before the end of before that fight happens. And actually, maybe a name that you could consider there is Chris Areola. He just had a fight at the weekend. Jean-Pierre Augustin blew him out in 3 rounds. Some of the commentators were saying Areola is back and all that sort of stuff. He's, 37, 38. He was on the slide a few years ago, but he's got a little bit left in the tank, but maybe just enough that actually, Joe Joyce could face him. It's another sort of on paper, a guy who was a former title challenger multiple times. So was it 3 title fights? So Joyce, and the fact that his name's been mentioned, maybe that is a fight that is potentially in the works for some point. And if there is going to be a gap of 6 months before, or even more, before they can get a fight made with Kabayel because of Kabayel's other commitments, then Areola, potentially that is an option. The fact his name's mentioned at all, it's interesting. And then we go on to Joe Joyce. So he just says simply mandated with an emoji with sunglasses. And if we just have a quick look at the comments, so my buddy Right Hook Boxing, good luck, great fight. I agree with that. If you haven't subscribed to Right Hook Boxing, do so. Great channel. Good content, very balanced, and good perspective on a lot of good fights. Also here, be a great tear up. Maybe Mr. Sam Jones will be able to buy a new polo neck now. Forget what I said about the British title. European title's got your name written all over it. You are moving so fast. Go, Joe, go. Snap. I mandated once before as well. Lovely chap he was. That's pretty much it. Joe is a strong and solid guy, but his style is just a pain to watch. His movement and speed make Joshua look like Lomachenko. Oh, that's ruthless. But yeah, that certainly has been one of the knocks on Joyce, has been the style, and there has been a lot of sort of comment about, he's slow as molasses with his punches and that. I actually had someone on my other channel, 99 Boxing, because I had some highlights from the Stavern fight up there. Someone said they fast forwarded it to 1.5 times speed and he still looks slow. This is what the comment was. But Joe Joyce is incredibly effective at what he does. Seems to have a good engine, good chin, and the punches come in and they are hurtful and impactful. But I do really like this fight, Agit Kabayel and Joe Joyce, for whenever it does get made. But who knows, will it actually get made? Because if Joyce is made to wait until the end of the year, what could that actually mean in the interim for him? Because there may be other options out there, because he is at the moment the WBA gold champion. Maybe he will end up having a fight with the likes of a Trevor Bryan or Manuel Char, someone who is also another, holding another version of a world title in the WBA. Or he may be made to defend or ordered to face someone within the WBA rankings. It'll be interesting to see. But what do you make of this fight? I like it. Agit Kabayel and Joe Joyce, that would be a great fight if and when it does happen. Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.